Welcome, everyone, to a lovely Thursday. Welcome to a lovely Thursday. What are we talking about? There's that famous line from Karate Kid when Jackie Chan says to Jaden Smith, "Your focus needs more focus." That's what we're talking about today, focus. Because we tend to say that we're distracted, but I wanted to elaborate on that. You're never distracted, you just focus somewhere else. Because when you start saying things like, "Oh my God, I was so distracted, I can't focus," that's not true. Because give you something you love to do, and nobody can tear you away from it. What are you? Focused. You have the ability to focus. You do. That will never change. It is part of creation. What? Yes. You see, when you project the image of the thing you say you are creating, it requires focus. And how do we focus? You see, when you're worrying and ruminating and fretting, you are fully focused on that thing. Oh, indeed, you are. You focus beautifully. hmm You sit there, and because she's here, I'm going to pick on her today. When you are baking, when you have an order, you're focused. You got to mix your colors. You have to have your ingredients for your cake. What kind of icing do you want? What colors in the icing? Uh, do you have a custard filling? Do you have a cream filling? You are focused on the task at hand. That's what you are. And you bring to fruition this most beautiful thing, right? You see, we think because we hear all the time, ADHD, ADD, oh, you can't focus. No, when you are doing what you love to do, even sometimes when you find yourself in that position where you say, "Oh God, I just can't drag myself to do this," you do it. You take your time and you work your way up in your mind to get it done. You focus. Oh, trust me, you focus. So today, the exercise is this: as you are going about your day, catch where you are focused. Catch where you are focused. What has your attention? What has you riveted? What has you wrapped? RAPT, raptured. That's the whole idea. You see, because we throw that word around, distracted, so much that we actually think we have a problem. But when you say things like you do it all the time, you do. We focus all the time. Look for it and you'll see it for yourself. If you're not focused here, you're focused there. Oh, sure, it looks like you're distracted. Why? Because you're focused somewhere else. So, what have we been telling ourselves? I can't focus. I'm so distracted. I'm easily distracted. No, it's just because the thing that you are wanting to focus on doesn't quite fully have your attention. That's why you put your focus somewhere else. Focus is necessary because focusing holds the image that you are projecting. What does a lens do on a camera? You see, everything is governed by law. So when we build things and we create things, they all fall under the law's governance. So when you focus the lens on your camera, what are you doing? That's exactly it. Your your attention is on that thing and that thing alone. That's what you're doing, right? So you see, what are you going to tell yourself now? Will you remember that you actually stay focused? And why would you stay focused? What is it that you're doing? Now, you see, when you complain, you're focused on the problem. But when you are focused on the solution, you will see the seed of it. Hmm? The difference? When you complain, you are focused. And they tell you in science, where you're focused on, where your attention is, that's where all your energy is focused on. And what happens when you focus energy somewhere? It grows. So you see the importance of focus. The importance of focus. Iapo said something the other day because I was just going to tell it to you. I'm not going to keep you long this morning. He said, when you go to church and the preacher says, I won't keep you long, you know you'll be there for quite some time because you're focused. Well, the preacher is focused, right? So, where in your life can you implement more focus? Where? Where can you do it? When you're doing your tasks, because sometimes I'm like a squirrel and I do put my focus somewhere else. I put it here, put it there, put it there. Oh, it drives me crazy. So I said to myself, well, what should I do to improve this? Finish the task at hand. If you set out to do a task, like if I have to email somebody, as soon as I look at the notifications, that's where I end up. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, no. So I keep having to bring myself back. No. What am I doing? I'm sending an email. Do that first. Right? This is what you literally have to bring yourself back because there's so many things vying for your attention. So many things are wanting you to focus on them that you have to decide. You have to make that choice. You follow through on your to-do list because it keeps you organized. Organized to be recognized, my daddy says. So you do the task at hand. Start it, finish it. Mortal Kombat. Anyway, that's what you do. It helps you to stay focused, especially when it is a task like laundry, sweeping and washing the floor. Because Lord knows we'd rather be somewhere else and doing something else. But if you stay focused on the task and you finish it, you can move on to something else much faster than if you focus somewhere else. So, focus is not just something that's willy nilly, it serves a very important purpose. Because if you'll notice, the mind likes to fixate on things. It focuses? Yes. It likes to focus. That's its job. Your brain, it will latch on to something, especially if it is something you like or something you enjoy. It just does it naturally. So why fight it? Align with it. And you start with the thing. I always say start with the thing you enjoy the most because that'll pull you right through everything else. Others, it may work for you the other way. You focus on the thing that you just have to get done. You see, it is in the design of the human to focus. That's just that's just your design to focus. So when we use words like distracted because we think are opposite, no, focus. If you say you're writing a script, if you say you're working on something, set your timer. That is also another exercise for you today if you're going to practice. Sometimes when I walk, when I walk, I count. It's just a thing. I don't know. I just count. And then I catch myself. I'm like, I just stopped counting. And I start counting again. Oh my God, I stopped. I start again. You see, do a simple exercise, because what you are doing is training your brain to stay focused where you put it. These are practical exercises because when it comes time to visualization or meditation, what are you going to be able to do? Focus. We see us, we want to start. We want to jump right into meditation and go, ooh, I'm going to do this for half an hour. 2 minutes in, it's like ants at a picnic. Your mind is just overrun because we haven't trained it how to stay focused. Every time it wanders, don't get mad at it. I've given this analogy before and I'll give it again. You know what I'm talking about. The baby. You're sitting there and the baby is learning how to crawl, so it crawls into the kitchen. Oh, look, the glass on the stove is shiny and it wants to touch the stove, like the glass. Granted, sure, it only gets warm, it doesn't get piping hot, but you don't want the baby to be drawn to the stove because it doesn't know when the stove is on. So what do? You catch the baby before it touches the stove every single time. As soon as you see it go in that direction, redirect it. What do you now? Here's us. We're the baby. Are you gonna holler at the baby? It doesn't speak. It's a baby. It doesn't understand what you're saying. It hasn't fully learned the language. So you can't holler at it. You can't shake it. Because it's like, what am I doing? What's going on? Right? So the only thing to do is to redirect the baby. Put it where you want it. You want it in front of its toys. So when it moves away, bring it back every time. If it gets to the stove and touches the glass, you must start over. So the next time the baby goes in that direction, get it and put it in front of its toys every time. Why? Because at some point, it may take you 9 or 10 times, but the baby will stay. It may look at the stove, but it will stay at its toys. That's training your brain to remain focused. But we want to holler, oh my God, I can't stay focused. I'm so dumb. That's what we want to do. But that's not the case. You show it what you want it to do over and over and over and over and over until it stays. It will submit to you. Well, you're not using brute force, are you? So it won't fight you. So you gently, because remember, it's delicate, isn't it? Of course it is. It's a baby. Because if I tell you it's a puppy, they're cute, sure. But you can't see yourself in the puppy, but you can see yourself in the baby. This is what happens when we're learning. This is why we should always be gracious when you learn, gracious when you teach. And you teach it however many ways you can until it is understood. You don't get frustrated. You stay focused and you share over and over and over again. That is the exercise in focus. You must bring it back every time because you're showing it what you want it to do. How will it know what you want it to do if you don't show it? There's no sense in getting angry. None, because it defeats the purpose. You'll just make yourself more agitated, and then you'll say, oh, see, no, I couldn't focus, and you stop. But if you keep at it, if you keep bringing your mind back to the task, it will stay where you put it. It will, because it will submit to you. It just will. It is, what is that saying? You get more bees with honey than you do vinegar? Right. Persuasion. Stay here. stay here. Same tone every time. Just bring it back. And you will marvel. You will watch yourself do the most incredible things. How do you think David Goggins gets it done? Who who in their right minds will duct tape broken feet or a broken foot and run on it? You have to put your mind somewhere else. If you put it on the pain, you'll stop running. But he has spent so much time putting his mind where he wants it that the minute he decides I'm going for a run, his mind goes somewhere else. It settles itself so that he can run. And this is why people look at him like he's a Superman. How does he do that? Because he's practiced the art of mental focus. That's what he's done. And yes, it is easier to see mental focus when you're exercising. Because if you do the wrong move, you're going to pull something, right? So it's usually easier to see when you're actually doing something. But don't let that fool you. So the next time you're going to go do something, you set the parameter right away. You tell yourself, this is what I'm doing. This thing right here is what I'm doing. You don't complain as you're doing it. You don't look at your watch while you're doing it. You just get it done. You see, what happens to us also, some of us get anxiety when we have to write exams because you have a timer and you're so focused on the time. Oh my God, am I going to finish in time? Am I going to run out of time? Right? And what happens? A panic sets in and you can't even think about the test. And then all you hear is pencils down. And you just sweat out of sheer panic. But if you teach yourself, yeah, I know I have a timed exam, but where should your focus be? Number one, number two, number three, the questions and answering them. That's where your focus is, not on, oh my God, this person just flipped their page. They're faster than me. All of a sudden you hear, the little red hand on the clock in the room. Yeah. And you hear the footsteps. You start counting them of the teacher or the proctor walking up and down, making sure nobody's cheating. See, the mind is gone. So when you practice focusing, practice keeping your attention where you put it. And what happens to you is you will find that you are able to what? Put your mind where you want it and it stays until the task is completed. And you will find that you actually stay calmer. That's it. So, Angela, why is it so hard? Because we haven't practiced long enough. That's why we think it is hard. Because we have not practiced long enough. We think, well, I'm going to do it 10 times and good, I can focus now. How do you know when you haven't tested yourself? When you say things like, oh, God, this exercise is like so boring. That's what I mean. We give in too quickly. And because we give in too quickly, we do not reap the benefit. We have the skill of focus. Now we have to hone it. Because heaven only knows how far that will get you. You see, causation, you don't know the far reaching effects of your focus. You don't know because we haven't invested that kind of effort. Well, what's the point? There it is. We don't always see the value in something as trivial as focus. But it is not trivial. Because if I say to you, bring up an image of caramel in your mind, See, and because I stopped talking to you, you've gone somewhere else. We do it, and we take it for granted. It is a most powerful ability. It is a most powerful ability to focus. Why do you think that when you walk down the street, lights flashing, right? There's something everywhere. Look at me. Look at me. Oh, listen to this. Mm. Why do you think that is? Because if you cannot hold your focus, you slow down your creativity. Well, why does that matter? Because you must create change in your life. So if you don't hold your focus, hold the image in your mind, how will you recreate it? It's fuzzy on the camera, on the lens. It's fuzzy. And then we say things like, I never get what I want. Only because we don't focus. That's why. So practice your focus. If you're going to walk, go walking. That's just go walking. What happens when you walk? You see the sights, you hear the birds. Be fully immersed in what you are doing. They call it living in the now. It just means you are singularly focused right where you are at. Nothing else has your attention, just right where you are at. And there is only ever right this moment. Now. Now, 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 now. There's only now. But that's why there's only now, because of the singular focus. But we want to brag and say on our resume, I multitask. Multitask, as I told you, is of the devil, because nothing ever gets done. Just bits and pieces here and there. Finish the task that you have started and then move on to the next. Or else you end up saying things like, I never finish what I start. Hmm. See how important practicing focus is? Now let's take a moment to welcome everyone into the space today. Who's on Twitter? Meep! I see you. Hello, Jeff. It's good to see you here on Twitter today. A lovely Thursday. I still can't believe it's Thursday. Feels like a Tuesday to me because we had holidays in the middle of the week. Well, you guys did. Ours was Saturday. Fanbase. Oh, Simone. KZ. Flo. Smiles. Miss McQueen Matthias. Zola. Yolanda. I see you. It's good to see you all here in the space this morning. Who's on Facebook? Indy is there. And YouTube. Who's here? I have to look to see who it is. Baba 200, I see you. Welcome. David. Cyber Darling. Agnieszka. Oh! Andrea. The Better Man. Sonia. I see you. Anot. Hey, hey. I see you all. And for those who have not made themselves known in the chat, I see you too. And the replay gang, hey, I see you all. So today, let us take time to practice the art of focus. Because what happens to you when you're focused also? You open yourself up for new ideas. Oh, you sure do. If you think about it, when you focus, if you think of the triangle on its side, you're focused on a singular point where the base is wide open. Ideas flow in. Ideas. You'll get ideas. Indeed. Yeah, but I don't know, Angela. Well, if you want to practice meditation, where do you focus? Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Focus there. Or if you go to the lapidary, that's where you get like rose quartz and those kinds of things. They'll have those little palm stones of, mine is labradorite. It has an indentation in it, like fits your thumb. I guess you can call it a worry stone. You give yourself something to do, something to focus on. And so if I'm sitting there, that's what I do. I rub that stone over and over again. And that's all I'm focused on doing, nothing else. That's how you do it. It's not this insurmountable thing that we can't accomplish. It is a very simple task. Start, finish. If the mind wanders, bring it back. Period. Don't complicate things. Give yourself a week. Just do it. Just practice. And you'll notice a difference in your life. Where? I don't know, because I'm not living your life. But I'm telling you, if you practice focusing, don't look at the time. You're not in a hurry. You're not in a hurry. As Daddy says, you rush the brush, you waste the paint. Take your time. Well, I don't know where to start focusing on. It doesn't matter. It's okay. I want to focus on red apples today. Fine. Then focus on red apples. And if you start to think about oranges, go back to red apples. It really, truly is that simple. You know, who said, oh my God, somebody did a short on that. And they said, when you learn how to focus, when somebody's talking to you, you're fully engaged in what they're saying because you've practiced focusing. No, you practice listening. You just practice listening. What are they saying? How are they saying it? You're focused on that. A lip reader is simply focused on moving lips because you want to catch the words, right? So if you're speaking, what are you're practiced? What have you practiced? Where did you put your focus? Your pronunciation? Enunciation? Not speaking like you've got marbles in your mouth? Yes. See, you practice. Practice helps you in your focus. This is, oh, yes, Cyber. See, Napoleon Hill talks about having a one-track mind, right? Because you don't want to be double-minded. Listen to that. Double-minded means you can't maintain focus. You're here, you're there, you're hither and yon, right? You're everywhere but where you want to be. And when you do that, like the scripture says, a double-minded man will accomplish nothing. Why not? Simply because when you focus, you will complete the task. But if you have many irons in the fire or many balls in the air, you're going to drop something or you're going to forget which iron is hot. One thing at a time. Even if you hop with 2 feet, you're still hopping one hop at a time. Are you getting there faster? You're just using more energy. So the key is singularly focused in one direction. Just one. Because when you do that, you will complete your task. And the whole purpose is to complete the task. That's it. Get her done. That's the whole point. You have a script to write. You have cards to create. You have something to do. If you find that you need to take a break, take a moment and regroup, do that. Shake your body out for a minute and then come back. Right? I know it seems kind of boring, but look at the far reaching effects. hmm Look at the far reaching effects. I mean, we can't see how far it goes, but look at it just for a moment. Why I can't memorize things? Focus on the words. What are you saying? And you do it over and over and over again. But we say, oh my God, my memory sucks. The ability to focus will help you improve your memory. hmm Take your time and practice maintaining your focus. Your focus needs more focus. That's what it is. It will come down to that. That's why in the movie Karate Kid, then he's teaching him, he's just telling him, okay, pick up the jacket, put it on the hook. Or was he letting it drop on the floor? I don't remember. But it was just a motion that he had to do. Pick it up, drop it. Pick it up, drop it. Over and over and over and over. And he got so mad. Why are you making me do this? Blah, 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 blah. Right? What he could not see was the end result. He was learning discipline. Of what? The mind. He was learning a particular move. Wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off, right? That's what he was learning how to do. You can't be a phenomenal fighter and not be focused on the movement. And the more you do it, the more focused you become on the movement, not just of your opponent, but yourself. The art of war. Know yourself and you'll know your opponent. You'll be able to predict. You'll be able to see a weak spot because you're focused. You see, it doesn't just mean, oh God, I gotta sit here and meditate. It doesn't just mean that. When you actually get to meditation, you'll find how easy it has become because you've taken the time to practice holding your focus. That is what I want to tell you today. Oh, sure, it seems like a mundane task, right? Of course. When you hear things like, I can't visualize, I can't see that. Everybody visualizes. How? We all have 5 or 6 senses. And one of them is quite strong. And whatever that one is what you use to make the image appear. So if you hear the words to a song, how does it make you feel? And it conjures up an image in your mind for you. What if you smelt roses? It'll conjure up an image for you. Everything will end in an image because it's mental, right? The universe is a mental creation. So that's what you spend your time honing, your ability to keep your mental focus so that your focus cannot be easily moved by someone else. Right? That's, I tell you, focus serves many purposes. So today, the practice exercise is this: catch where you are focused. Catch it. And did you stay there? Or did you end up focused somewhere else? Think about that today as you go through your day. And you know how to fix it now. Put your mind right back where you want it to be. So if I say to you, bring your awareness to your big toe, you have the ability to what? Make a beeline in your mind straight to your big toe. Focus. Hmm. Anyway, that's what I'll tell you today. Practice. Practice focusing. Practice putting your attention somewhere and see how long you stay there. Hmm. Did something come along and get your attention? Or were you able to withstand it? You see, we think that it's this challenging thing, but what if you were in solitary confinement? Some people will go mad because there's nobody to communicate with, there's nobody to talk to, nothing to do. But that's not true. It's always going to come down to your mind. You've got to be able to focus to maintain your sanity. There's a room, snap. I forget how many decibels it is. It is so quiet in that room. Some people can't last an hour in that room. Like it's so quiet. You hear your own heartbeat. You hear the air coming in and out of your lungs. Oh, I could not even imagine. Like it's sensory deprivation. If you've ever gone to a float tank, it's I forget how many pounds of Epsom salts in the water. Is it 12 pounds? I don't even remember how many pounds of Epsom salts is in the water, but you don't sink. You just float on top of the water, right? You just float there. I did it once. They have to close the door. Uh-uh. No thanks. You're not gonna close that door with me in here because there's nothing, and I don't like being in small spaces. So when you're in that space, I kept the door open and they turned off the lights in the room, but that defeats the purpose. When you're in a space like that, you can't see because there's nothing to see. You don't hear anything other than you and the water. Like it's almost like being in the womb again. All you have are your thoughts and your focus. That's it. Cyber, beautiful question. Intrusive thoughts. It doesn't matter if they intrude. Is it where you want your brain to be? You know, if you are doing something, you're like, did you turn off the stove? That thought. Those are different. Those are different because intuitively, if something is wrong, you'll know about it, right? If there's something wrong, you'll know because intuitively you'll sense it. For us who burn food quite a bit, that's what happens. You're like, I forgot the stove, right? But an intrusive thought, when you are thinking about the task at hand, when you are focused on the task at hand, ants at a picnic, intrusive thoughts, brush them off and put your brain back where you say you want it to be every time. You're sitting there focused on your inhale, exhale, and you're like, oh my God, I wonder if they like me. Don't even fight. Just inhale, exhale. Do you think they'll like me? I don't even know if I want to go. Like, what if we don't have anything in common? Inhale, exhale. Bring the thought back. Don't get agitated. Just bring your mind back to where you say you want it. Inhale, exhale. If you give energy to the thought, the intrusive thought, then it has successfully taken you somewhere else. But if you keep your mind, oh, but I wonder if George will be there. Inhale, exhale. Just go back every time. And intrusive thoughts will stop. They'll stop. Honestly, cyber, intrusive thoughts will stop when you keep bringing yourself back every single time. Hey, Bree, Mozinga, you dreamt of a closed space with people that I don't feel comfortable with? There was no perceivable exit, and you still got out. Oh, well, look at you. Dreamt of a closed space. Well, it is law, right? We're never stuck anywhere because everything is always moving, right? So that is your exercise today. Pay attention to where you're focused because remember, we're not distracted, you just focus somewhere else. So pay attention to where you are focused. Is it where you want to be focused? That's the first question. And the second question is, really? I'm there? Yes. Is that where you want to be focused on? That there isn't any more important question than that. Is that where you want to be focused? No? Then put your mind where you want it to be. It will do what you tell it to do. Notice it'll do what you tell it. You don't have to beg, you're the one in control. So you say, we're here. It wanders, we're here. It wanders, we're here. So if you know you're setting aside time to focus, then either put your phone in do not disturb mode or vibrate. I prefer the do not disturb because the vibration will get your attention, won't it? If it's important, they'll leave a voicemail. You see how we fracture our thinking? Because we think we're going to miss something. You're not going to miss anything. You're not going to miss anything. So that's why I say when you practice your focus, clearly define what it is you are going to focus on. Funny thing that mentalism, right? So that is what I will tell you today. Practice focusing. Practice putting your mind somewhere and having it stay there until your task is completed. Because there will come a time, like tomorrow, you know, focusing is a skill that we must hone. Because if you do not maintain your own focus, your attention will be put somewhere by somebody else because the design is to focus. People say, how do you remember the words? Because you practice the words. Cyber, you said you just started meditating recently, and it makes me feel like my own body is that tank you're talking about. Yes. Oh, you completely forgot who you were. And when the alarm went off, you came back. See? I know you can't see it right now. We can't always see the value right this instant, but the ability to focus. Oh, I can't focus. Yes, you can. We are all designed to focus. I learned a new word, neurodivergent. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, I still don't even know what that means. I'm like, I do based on the words, but I'm like, all it is practice. People say, well, you can't make children sit still. They're not designed to sit still, but give them something they enjoy doing and they will sit still. It's not that they cannot. What is the task? You always start with the thing that is simplest so that you can accomplish the task. Mozinga, I feel like those intrusive thoughts need to be addressed sometimes to be transformed. Well, that's why I mentioned before, like, is it an intuitive thing? Meaning, you better go turn off that stove, right? Or did you miss your turn? That's different. It's intuitive. But if you're sitting there and you're meditating and you have thoughts about your mother, you have thoughts about your sister, you have thoughts about the dog, ants at a picnic, they're just there. But if you engage with them, now they have your attention. That's where you're focused now. You don't engage with them. You put your mind back. Some people say if the thought comes in, jot it down because then it's on the paper. You don't have to think about it anymore. And you can go back to being focused. But you have to do what's best for you in that case. But intrusive thoughts, if it's a, oh, remember to, sure, write that down. Just jot it down and go back to where you were so that you remember. Or you're there and the thought comes in, you say, remember that for when I'm done. But even if you say, remember that for when I'm done, you still have to allow it to leave. You still have to allow it to leave and go back to where you say you've put your mind. Right? You've got like discerning the difference between intrusion and intuition. Intuition will have that feeling attached. It just like all your senses are like, your spidey senses are tingling, right? That's intuition. But the intrusive thought, just let that be where it is. The design of the mind is to think. You can't stop it from thinking. That's why you tell it what to think. Focus. You can't empty the mind, right? It is designed to think and to be creative. That's what it's there for. So that's why you have to tell it what to do instead of allowing it to run rampant, which is what we do. We don't always have that ease to just sit there and let it focus because there's so much going on. I got that bill to pay. I got this one to do. I got to call this person. Does that does that make sense? Because it's a simple thing to do. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Because then you'll begin to recognize your own behavior. You'll begin to recognize you. That's why it's one of the reasons why you meditate, because you're learning who you are. You're learning where you begin and end. And what happens at the end? Something else is there. You begin to sense what that is as well. The bigger part of yourself, I suppose. That's what it is. That's why you want to be able to focus. So you can get a sense of your own body, your own being. You're going to be able to feel yourself. You have to be able to feel yourself to know what you feel like. Why is that important? It's important because two things are going to happen here. You will know yourself, but then you'll know the greater part of yourself. You'll begin to understand. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think he calls it nothing, like nothing, feeling the nothingness. Like, I think that's what he calls it, if memory serves me correctly. Like feeling outside of yourself. You feel where your body ends, but there's something now outside of that. All these things come about when you start being able to focus your mind deliberately. Astral projection. You have to know what you feel like. So when you pop out of your body, you know what it feels like. But we don't focus. We don't practice focusing. Sonia, great question. Is it okay to feel the feeling and then let it go? Well, that depends on how long you've practiced focusing. If feeling the feeling will cause you to focus somewhere else, then don't engage with the feeling until you've practiced enough where you can say, you can brush it off. Because if you feel the feeling, you're there instead of where you put your mind in the original. Does that make sense? So if you start out with inhale, exhale, and this thought comes in there and you just feel it, you're not on the inhale, exhale anymore. Does that make sense? Let me put myself in this position. Hold on. So you are sitting in the lotus position and you're focused on inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And you're like, oh, that feels nice. Where are you? Inhale, exhale. It's like when you're falling asleep, right? You are aware and then you're unaware. You see, right in between the two, right in between the two, state akin to sleep, right? You're falling asleep because you're so tired. And then the next thing you know, it's 5 a.m. See, if you learn to focus, you'll be able to walk that line in between sleep and no sleep. Like you're not sleeping, you're fully aware. It's a state akin to sleep. If you if you bring yourself back, Sonia, is that what you mean? Because you say, isn't that like swimming upstream against the water? You mean to bring yourself back feels like you're going upstream? Elaborate for me. Because the minute you give in to the thought, the minute you acknowledge it, you have to put your attention on something to acknowledge it, right? That's what you're doing. That's what pulls you the moment you acknowledge that thing. So the focus now is you sit there or you lay there and you're just breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. That's all you're doing. Inhale, exhale. That's all you're doing. I should call George. Inhale, exhale. You should call George. Inhale, exhale. You know, but didn't you tell George you'd call? Inhale, exhale. Yeah, but George is probably waiting on my call. You know, he goes to bed at like 10. Inhale, exhale. You have to keep going back to what it is every time. The thoughts will come. They just will. But the more you redirect yourself to where you say you're going to keep your focus, that's why you don't fight them. You don't engage with them. You don't fight them. You just gently inhale, exhale. And you'll begin to notice that you stay on the inhale, exhale. That's all, nothing else will go on but that inhale, exhale. But it will take you some time, especially if you've never practiced it before. Right? But we get so caught up in the, that's why I have the same routine every evening. Because when I lay down, I didn't forget anything on, because I always check and I know what I've done. So that when I hear foolishness, did you do that? Did you do that? I'm like, oh, you know what? I know what I've done. George. I'm Sonia, not George. You don't want to call George? No, but do you hear what I'm saying? It just takes practice. It just takes practice. And you can start, if you're driving, where should your focus be? Well, 10 and 2. Now, if you're driving stick, well, you got to pop that clutch, right? I miss driving standard. But where's your focus when you're driving? The road and the traffic. But what happens to us? What? I'm here already? How'd I get here so fast? So, what were you doing this whole time? What were you doing that whole time? That's what I'm talking about. We get in the car and we drive. And then we wonder how we got where we were. So, where were you focused? Where were you focused if it wasn't on the road? Right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is so simple to be pulled into another focus. It's okay. The brain will go into theta waves naturally when you shower and when you drive. But you have to be the one to give it that purpose now. Yeah, you're in theta when you're driving, but you know what? All hands on deck. All hands on deck when you're driving. Think about that for a moment. You get on the bus, you want all hands on deck when he's driving you. Think about that when you're driving down the street. Where, where's my focus? See what happens to us with autopilot? Nothing is wrong with autopilot. Autopilot is part of the design. But you have the capacity to override autopilot, which means what? Bringing your focus back. That's what it is. Got to pay attention to what? Where you say you put it. Like when you're putting all your ingredients together, you know, wet into dry, dry into wet, depending on if you're making muffins or whatever or whatnot. Your attention is just there. Just there. When you're kneading dough, you knead the dough. You work the dough. You begin to feel, if you're focused on that dough, you begin to feel when it changes its consistency. because you're focused on what you're doing right there, right now. It it's in every area of your life, right? Every area. So just pay attention to that when you're out and about today. Where did you put your focus? Is that where you wanted to put it? How easy was it for you to stay focused? Just pay attention to it. You're not judging, you're observing. You're watching yourself. Hey, Ty, I see you. Mozinga, feel yourself, know yourself, so that you know what to focus on. But of course, that's what drives us to focus who you are, what you enjoy. Listen, you'll go to the studio and you'll be playing for hours. Sleep. You're not even tired because you're focused singularly on what's going on in the studio. The rim shot, the tom, the keyboard player, the bass player. That's all you're focused on is the music. You watch a good drummer, Eric Bozeman. You may not know who he is, but I know who he is. Then just to watch him play drums. If you watched him, you were sucked right into where he was, wherever that was, but he was singularly focused. We always would call it in the pocket because he didn't miss a beat. He was in the pocket. And it was like, you just, it was something amazing to behold when somebody is so singularly focused. It draws you in to wherever they are. And it's like, it's almost like you become them for a minute because you're now so focused on them because they're so focused on what they're doing. Eyes are closed and the rhythm stays consistent. And he feels it. Sure, he's practiced for hours, but that's irrelevant. You practice because you have to learn the song. But when he gets there and he sits on that stool and he hits the drums, you can tell when he slips into focus. A bass player, same thing. You can tell when any musician slips into their focus because they're no longer playing notes anymore. They've become the music. That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You go from just doing a thing to being the thing. Like that's when I watch people do the clean and jerk or the snatch, weightlifting, right? You when you watch them, you know they're focused. Every single move is so deliberate. They've practiced those moves over and over and over again. Over and over and over again, they've practiced those moves in the gym. But now they're before a crowd. And you've got lights flashing, right? And you are now looking at this weight that you've trained yourself to lift. Are you going to stay focused or are you going to let the person taking the photo distract? Oh, where's that word? Pull your focus somewhere else. Well, your back depends on you being focused. But if you watch them, then they lift it. So long as they remain focused, when they lift that weight, holy guacamole, especially when you do the clean and jerk. You lift, you thrust, holy cow, and you come up onto the shoulders. Oh, dear God. And then they thrust it up above their head, legs go out into the stance and come back together. And then they drop the weight. They became the weight. They didn't lift it, they became it. So when you focus, what have you become? This is what I'm trying to tell you. There's something that happens to you when you do it, but you have to do it to understand. You can't be lifting that weight and be thinking about, oh, maybe I'll see George later. No, you can't do that. Well, you could, but you'll hurt yourself. And that's what I mean when I say practice the art of putting your mind where you want it to be. Just put it there. Because your coach will be able to tell if you are focused somewhere else. That's what I mean when I say to you, if you're going to sit there and meditate, you'll begin to notice then you've gone from being Mozinga, you've gone from being cyber into something way more vast. But you won't know until you practice. And then the first question is, well, how long is that going to take? Time is not your focus. The task at hand is the focus. It could take you a day, it could take you a week, it could take you a month, it could take you a year. That is up to you. That all means, did you put your mind where you wanted it to be? And did you allow it to stay there? You don't go into this with the, I want to feel the nothingness. That's not the focus. The focus is inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Until you become the inhale and you become the exhale. I can't tell you when that's going to happen. Because then that's what has your attention. Now that's where you're focused. Choose where you want your focus to be, your attention. Choose where you want to put it and allow it to stay there. And if it should wander, bring it back to where you want it to be. Bring it back every time. Every time. Don't fret, don't fuss, don't expect, don't anticipate. Focus on the inhale and the exhale. Because in the beginning, when you're focused on it, you're doing it. And you will change from doing to being naturally. That is what I will leave you with this morning. Now I hope that you are intrigued enough to want to practice. Not to see what you can get out of it, but to hold your attention somewhere where you put it and be deliberate about it. That is what I will tell you. Hey, Kosher. Same old. I see you all. I trust it makes sense. Remember, you can slide into my DMs if you have more questions. And I'll be silent. Ah! Apple, I said your name today. Yes, I did. You just popped into the space. I said your name today. Listen, if you're in the YouTube chat, click on Apple's picture and check out his channel. Apple, you inspired me to do what I had put on the back burner for quite some time. And I had a gentle reminder because somebody called me last night. She's a Canadian director. She just won Best Director here at the Toronto Film Festival. She calls me. And I said to myself, well, this can't be a coincidence. So now, coupled with you, Apple, the stuff I had sitting on the back burner back there, just, percolating, came to the forefront. So now I have to focus to do what needs to be done. You see, everybody plays a role. They just do. And you observe the role that is being played. And you look at yourself and you go, huh, oh, this has been sitting here for a while. And so now for me, I actually have to implement focus now. I don't have a choice. I have to complete the tasks. There's two of them now. Thanks, Iapo. Two of them. So I have to finish them. Well, start and finish. So you see, inspiration, you have to know yourself. Because you haven't done something just yet, it doesn't mean that you won't do it. I'm sure everything in its time. But remember what I told you, things present themselves because it's that simple. You never have to go looking, what should I do next? No, it'll present itself to you. And if you take notice the first time, you're ahead of the game. But if you're like me, stubborn, it'll take somebody shaking you a little bit. But I'm working on that. So, yeah, see how important focus is and practicing the skill of focus? Oh, it is very important. It will make you a master creator when you hone your skill of focus. And that truly is where I'll leave you. That's it. That's all the gravy there is from the rest of the bowl, my beautiful friends. I love you all. And thank you for spending your time with me today on Twitter. Meep, I see you, baby. I see you. Oh, snap. Oh, that is the sound of a new member. Thank you, Iapo. Thank you for joining on YouTube. That is greatly appreciated. That's what that is. Yes. So you see, go forth and practice your exercise. What is your exercise? Where do I want to put my mind deliberately? Not how long. Nope. Where do you want to put it? Put it there. If it should wander, put it back. Wanders again, put it back. We don't judge. You're training. You're training. You're practicing your technique of what? Focus. That's what you're doing. And as you're out and about today, notice, where did you focus? Where did you focus? Were you pulled from that focus? Or did you remain? That is your task, it's your exercise. Because it is that focus that will usher you into greatness, my beautiful friends. It truly, truly will usher you into greatness. Because the ability to focus makes you a master creator. That's, that's the effect, because that's what it is. Oh, oh, Diamond Slaughter. I remember you. Has it been that long already? Oh, my word. Listen to what Diamond says. He says, hi, thank you for your beautiful service you gave me a year back. It allowed me to hold and to bring and discover my true passion for life with inner conversations. Shoo, that look, that deserves a bowl all of its own, Felician. Diamond, good for you. You were the one who put in that work. You weren't just a hearer of the word, you were a doer of the word until the word became flesh. That is what you did. That is what you did. You see, you do a thing just because it needs to be done. You don't worry about any harvest. You just do it because it needs to be done. I still can't believe it's been a year. Diamond, remember to click on the link in my link tree. There's an envelope there. Email me. I want to catch up with you. Thank you for sharing your testimony this morning. We're going to have in August, I'll schedule one for testimonies. So get your testimonies, y'all, about how you were successful. Remember what success means. It means you said, I'm doing this thing, and you did it. That is success, period. So remember them, write them down. I'll post it today. I'll pick the date and post it so you can click on the notify me and you'll come and share your testimony. Like, this is a very, 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 very beautiful day. It just is. Diamond, thank you for being here today. I mean, all of you, right? But thank you, Diamond, for coming in and sharing. Remember to email me, though, so we can catch up. And all my social media platforms are in that link tree as well. So whichever one you're on and you want to DM me through, we can do that so we can catch up. I'm so pleased for you. That's I'm not going to read that part, Diamond. I'm not going to read that part. But I will say, I'll read this part. He says, You're welcome. And he meant to say, Hold on to being. That's what he meant to say. Hey, Emanon, I see you, baby. But yes, you see, this is the thing, right? When you set out to make a change in your life, sometimes we get discouraged. Sometimes we fret. Is it done yet? Why are you making the change? You're making the change because you want to change. So your focus should simply be I'm changing every day. I'm becoming more of who I say I want to be. That's your focus, not the time and how long it is going to take you. Think about this for a moment. Did you stop to ask how long it was going to take you to mess up your world by complaining? Nah, you didn't do that, did you? Nope, didn't do it. You just complained. Not just you. I'm talking about me as well. Don't think I'm hollering at you. I'm in a glass house, remember? Right? We don't stop to ask ourselves, you really want to complain about this? You know how this is going to shape your world? We don't stop to do that. But we stop when we say, how long is this change going to take? Come now. We stop and ask ourselves, how long is that going to take? It is irrelevant how long it takes. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. You say you want to change. Why? Because you don't like where you're at and you don't like what you're doing. So then allow polarity to guide you because polarity is just lounging. Where do you want to be? And what do you want to be doing? And you answer the question, well, polarity. I want to be here. And I want to be doing this. And I want to do this. And I want to do this. And I want to do this. And polarity says, let us begin. And you start doing the thing you just told polarity you wanted to do. And do you know what that means? That means now you are singularly focused on your change, as opposed to being singularly focused on your complaining. Hmm? Polarity doesn't give you time to complain. Polarity does not even encourage complaining because polarity knows that where you put your focus, that's where it has to go. Polarity must comply. Well, you must comply to polarity, but you get what I'm saying. If you complain, polarity has to work on the complaining. If you are solution based, polarity is working on the solution. So polarity is taking its cue from you. Do you understand that? This is why you put your energy, your focus on building the new. Where do you want to be? That's where you put your attention. That's where you put your focus. Because wherever you put your focus, polarity is going to go there. Because then you've allowed yourself to be polarized, pointed strongly in a particular direction, is what it means. And wherever that direction is, you have to reap where that direction is. Oh, yes. So it better be a good harvest that you're pointing yourself in the direction of. So it's not that complaining is a bad thing. It's neither good, bad, nor indifferent. Is it where you want to be? And is it what you want to be doing? Because remember, as within, so without, you must reap what you have sown. So don't just complain because you've got a mouth. Psst, come on now. That was my grandmother used to say that. Don't just talk because you got a mouth. I'm like, yes, Granny. Put yourself in the direction of where you say you want to go. And that's where you lean. Lean on me. That's where you lean, yeah? Polarity. Ah, shoot. There you go, Iapo. See? See what you do to me, Iapo? Oh, I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. I gotta get it done. I will focus today because after I leave you guys today, I will be silent. I have to be for a while so that I can recuperate my voice to narrate this project, right? Um, so in my silence, in the ebb, because remember ebb and flow, ebb does not mean you are idle. No, ebb means you planning. You're getting all your ducks in a row, is what ebb means. Why? Because you don't stay in the ebb, do you? You flow. Ebb goes into flow. Hmm. So, what are you going to flow with? Well, that depends on what you've done in the ebb. Yeah, it's like prepping your kitchen. Flow smiles. That's the ebb. When you prep the kitchen, when you prep the canvas, when you prep your notebook, Matthias, Miss McQueen, right? When you prep, that is the ebb. Why? Because the flow, you've got to know what you're doing. Oh my God. What? Eminon, this is your fault now. You in here and I'm rhyming. Oh Lord, save me, Jesus. But you know what I'm saying? Ebb and flow. Don't just think that because you're ebbing that you're lazy, you're doing nothing. No, you are preparing for the flow because the flow is inevitable. Nothing stands still, right? That's what you're doing. Look, y'all better go because you know I'm sweating. I'm sweating. But I trust that today was of benefit to you and that you will implement it and you will see the change in your world and you will throw confetti and you will say, I did that. Yeah, I changed my life. I did it. And because you did that and you experienced the effect of your change, it'll cause you to do something else. It'll inspire you to move and do more and be more. Not because the rest of the world wants you to be more, but because you say, I am that. I am. Yeah, there you go. I love you. And you know, I'm going to catch y'all later. I love you. Thanks for being here, everybody. Twitter is closed. See, I only have one hand free. So now I'll close fan base. I love you all. Triple S, Kosher, Simone, Summer Rose, KZ, Miss McQueen, Matthias, Yolanda, Zola. Thank you. And my moderators in the space, thank you so much for being here and assisting your girl every single day. Okay? You know what I want you to do for me, my moderators? Email me. I want to send you something. Yeah. Okay. See you later, fan base. Fan base is closed. So YouTube, Facebook. Yeah. Emanon, I'm glad the message was on time. I will see y'all soon. So, Yappo, Emanon, Diamond, Andrea, Sonia, Ty's Tidbits, Mozinga, our resident etymologist, Cyber, my resident biblical scholar, Bree, darling, Bree. You know, Bree, the other day, I didn't forget to mention your name, but I'll do it now. My beautiful creative sister. She just is so talented. And exuberance is her personality. Oh, yes, she is, most certainly. And Baba 200, thank you for being here as well. Agnieszka, thank you for being here. The better man. A not. Woo woo. I see you, baby. I see you. Andrea, um, ooh. Okay, wait, Andrea, wait. During the wee hours of the morning, 3 a.m., my meditation time, I had an epiphany. I suddenly came to the realization that I didn't have to do any techniques, visualizing, SATs, or scripting. No. Really? I'm feigning surprise, Andrea. But let me continue reading what you said. Telephone technique, etc. The moment I believe or accept and have faith, confidence in the law to be infallible, I cease from all works. My thoughts immediately create a picture. Emanon says he is in the thick of it, so he needed the message. Andrea continues. All I have to do during the day when the thoughts resurface is to immediately respond to it with the law, mentalism. The universe is a mental creation, causation. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. Gender, projection. This is what I want to create. Masculine. This is what I will experience. Feminine. Placing the law upon my desire is simply enough. Period. Andrea's on fire today. Neville Goddard, in my opinion, moved me. Oh, okay, we'll get there. We're not judging, remember? We're just sharing an observation. Neville Goddard, in my opinion, moved me away from the law, causing me to have to work for my desire. Oh, and she says, I, however, steered her in the direction of the law. Oh, Lord, now. Don't make a girl blush. He who the Son or the law sets free is free indeed. I'm no longer a slave to my desire. I now just quote the law. Oh, she says my focus is now on the law. Andrea. Now that is the audacity required to walk through this world. You just simply walk through it and you say, I am that. Because you now know. It's a whole different attitude altogether. I'm so pleased for you, Andrea. I'm very pleased for you. Because you see, the law does something. It shows you that you don't have to believe, you don't have to hope, you don't got to beg, you don't got to grovel. The law tells you plant the seed and you must reap what you have sown. It works in your kitchen garden. It works in your pregnancy. It works everywhere because everything is governed by law. And all that is required is the audacity to know it. You don't go out and plant your garden and just hope for the best. No. You go out there, you clear it of all the weeds, you dig the holes, you put the water in the hole, you plant the seed, cover that hole over, and you come out there every day and you water it and you speak good to it. And then when your little sprouts come up top, you're like, oh, Lord, look at that. I just planted something. I brought forth life. You did that. And the only thing you saw was, what do I want to eat out of my garden? That was the desire. And so you planted based upon what you wanted to eat out of your garden. Andrea, Andrea, that attitude is what allows us not to be swung to and fro by emotions. Because remember what I told you. Sometimes we have a good day, sometimes we have a not so good day. But what do you know for fact? The law. And when you remind yourself of the law, you can make any bad thing good, any good thing better. All because you've aligned, and because you're focused on it, you're aligned with the law. Ugh. Whew, I feel like this is a proud mommy moment. Because you put in the work. You had to watch yourself, Andrea. That's what you did. You had to sit there and go, what am I doing? Is this what I want for me? You sat there. You sat there and you looked at yourself. You didn't judge yourself. You didn't beat yourself up. You just said, what experience do I want to have? Iapo says, that is a powerful word for this morning and so on profound. It's in its simplicity. Plant an apple tree and care for it, and you will get apples, not oranges, bananas, or anything else. Hallelujah. Right? That's it. And so now your thought is the seed because you're going to use the law of correspondence now. It tells you as above, so below. So you planted an apple seed. What apple seed thought are you going to plant? You see, the law of correspondence. You did it there, you can do it here. As within, so without, as above, so below. Always. You get what you plant and cultivate. That is law. That's what Iapo says. Fact. Or as my bestie would say, facts on facts. So if you're planting into your character, right? You're cultivating you. You're molding and shaping you. You're pruning you. You're releasing the things that don't bear fruit. You do that to your tomato plant. You do that to the basil or the basil. The little part you cut above, so you have all the new shoots back there. Yeah, but you don't cut that part off and throw it out. You cut that part and you garnish your food or you season with it. What does that tell you? The things that no longer served, they still did serve you back in the day, right? They served their purpose. And that's why you don't grudge them. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, what a waste. No, it wasn't a waste. It added to your beauty. And that's it. That's because no techniques are required. It is a knowing that is required. But sometimes you got to go through the technique to discover that it is the knowing. See? That's it right there. Sometimes you do have to go through that to understand that it is the knowing that is required. and not a technique. Hmm. Y'all got me fired up in here like I'm sweating, but that phone is gonna ring in a minute. So, you know, I will set the date for the testimonial. Yes, I love each and every one of you. I don't think you guys grasp that yet. But all in time, I suppose. And I appreciate each and every one of you and the time that you share with me because we learn and we grow together. We shall overcome. We'll overcome the programming, won't we? Oh, indeed, with simply the knowing of the law. Because when you know it now, you apply. I love you. Enjoy your beautiful day. Much love, everybody. Much love. Wait, I was just about to hit the button, Andrea. Wait. Thank you, Andrea, for your love and your generosity today. You have to thank me for being a little slow because I just was moving to click on the thing because I'm a little slow because I only got the one hand free, right? Oh, Andrea, thank you so very much. Thank you. And continue to walk in the knowing of the law. Now, I'm going to go. I'm going to take my time. I love you all.